Hi, it's me again with Corel Draw tips and tricks, just kind of playing around with a new way to design something. And these are exactly the same with the exception that I put some spaces. So I thought I'd share with you how you would do something like this. Let's just move these out of the way. I'm actually going to start with a rectangle, and then I'm going to turn it on its edge and rotate it 45 degrees. My numbers are not locked. Let me lock the numbers. And then let's squish this down, kind of making a diamond shape, and then hit P. Now, it's equal, so it's in the center of the page. So I'm going to Control D and make a duplicate, and I don't have to put the center rotation in the center because it's already there. Now, you see that I've rotated and skewed it, so my number, but if I want to rotate it 20 degrees, I just go plus 20. Now, let's start over and not do that. Let's take the Smart Fill tool and fill it in and move it over. And I love the Smart Fill tool because of this fact. Left click, right click. We made a new object and it is at 0. Control D and make a duplicate and rotate it 20 degrees. Now I'm going to keep these two because I'm going to show you some other ways. I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool, I'm going to fill that in, and I'm going to nudge it over. Now, because we're working in the center of the page, that will rotate from the center of the page right there. I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to put a little pizzazz to it, or whatever you want to call it. I'm going to take the 2-point curve line. I'm going to go from basically from that node to the center. And I'm actually going to keep it straight. You could curve it. And then I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool. I've got a hotkey now I've used quite a bit now for F. And I'm going to fill both those in. Now this is where your artistic ability could come out. I'm going to go and get the interactive fill tool, which is my hotkey G. And I'm going to add a little darkness to this. Maybe a little bit more. The closer you get, the darker it will get. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to select that one. And the last tool you use will still be there. So I'm going to call that good. I mean, you could play with that forever. Now I'm going to group this, Control G, Control D to duplicate, Alternate C to rotate it from the center of the page, which you see it is. And I'm going to rotate it 20 degrees. And what this does, it keeps that same angle. I actually went too far, but that doesn't matter. Now, so with that said, I'm probably not going to show the other one, but I rotated it 22.5 degrees to get less peaks and a little bit thicker. And then all I did was use the interactive fill tool. So I'm going to still go with 20, but I'm going to change it up and put a space between them. You know what? Let's go ahead and go 22.5. It'll give us a little bit less, and 22.5 will be visible because it's half of 45. And I'm going to take the Smart Fill tool and fill that in. Now I'm going to move it out of the way for a second. I'm going to nudge both these out of the way. And I'm going to take this one and nudge it back. But then I'm going to left click, right click, and I'm going to go to Effects and Contour. And I'm just going to contour to the inside 0.01 or 0.1. And I get just that little bit of contour. Now, normally I have to break the contour apart. But since I'm going to use the Smart Fill tool to fill it in, that made a new object. So I do not have to break it apart. I can just delete it. Now what's cool about this, Control D, Alternate C, and rotate it 22.5 degrees, and look at the space. We're putting a space between them. Now it doesn't look very cool because I didn't change it. So let's delete all these and just go ahead and change it. You know, if you delete the top ones, then you can always delete the bottom ones all at one time. Now we're going to what we're going to do, I'm going to do that other one I did. I'm going to leave it a single piece. And I'm going to get the interactive fill tool. And I'm just going to swipe across, but then I'm going to go from the center. And this is where you don't want too much. You want just a little bit. Control D to duplicate alternate C and rotate it 22.5 degrees. So I'm getting that same space, but I'm getting that interactive fill tool look. Now, when you do that, you want to make sure you don't overrun and make too many copies, because it could cause a problem somehow. But that looks pretty cool. Now, the video, big deal, not that big of a video, but you might learn something. So I thought I'd go ahead and add one more segment that would be like the clone. Some of you are probably getting tired of my clone video. Tell you what, let's get rid of that. You know what? We can just delete that and use the other one that was there. Now I'm going to do what we did in the other one. I'm going to take and left click, right click. And this is the one with the space, I think. So we're going to take you know what? This time we're going to use the 3-point curve line and go from there to about the middle. It'll actually say midpoint. And let's just put a little bit of curve to it. I'm kind of going backwards the normal way I would. Hit F to fill that in. Fill that in. Grab the top one. Hit G to make your hotkey. And we're going to do that. And we're going to go ahead and put black. You know what? That might look pretty cool. And that would be a good scenario to do that. To leave that, because we're going to clone this guy. And then you'll see what I'm talking about. So for a second, I'm going to group this together. And I'm going to nudge it over. And I'm going to go up to edit and clone. And then I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to break it apart. Group and ungroup. And you see that this is our curve. So this is our control. So I'm going to nudge it over twice. I'm going to put this back. Now we need to break this apart or ungroup it. If it is grouped, yep. Go up to object, group, and ungroup it. So this is our clone. You can see it's our control. It's supposed to be our control. Did I not make a clone? Let me start that over. Let me make sure I just have one copy. Yep. So let's go ahead and go edit now. Clone it. Move it up. You know, that's out of the way. But see, that's our clone curve, which is what we want, so we'll have to move it back. So you have to clone both parts. So this is our control curve. Here we go. Now I'm going to go ahead and group this together for a second and put it back. I'm going to leave it in the black box. I'm going to control D to duplicate, alternate C to have it rotate, and we'll rotate it at 22.5 degrees. And see how much better it looks in the dark against some dark. But because now we have a clone, I call it looking at it in real time. We're going to have to ungroup all this because we have 18 objects, but we really need 36 because there are 2 pieces. So now there's 34. Maybe I didn't get them all. We'll see in just a second when I change this clone. Let's change this clone to a light blue. Man, that looks pretty good. And see, what's cool about cloning is you get to see what it's going to really look like in real time. And we're going to add a little blackness to this. And look at that. And then you could always change the other side and have it more black or less black. Bring your black down. I like that new color. That's pretty good. Anyway, hope that gave you some ideas, and thank you for watching.